All right, so as you can see here, I did all the different things. You can do it based on the text that I have in the file. So try to make it look like the picture. Um, but I just want to go over some of the stuff that you're going to be using. So for this one, you're going to be using stroke. All right, for this one, you're going to be using duplicate and paste, copy and paste, and paste in front, paste in back. Again, copy and paste in front, paste in back. For this one, you're going to be putting text on top of it, or you're going to be using your Pathfinder and knocking text out of it. For this one, you're using your tracking in your character panel. For this one, you're using your Pathfinder again. For the gradient, you're using the gradients, so you're going to go swatches, and once you're in your swatches, you can go to your gradients. So gradients. For this one, you're going to be using your effects menu, and to do that one, so effects menu, and I think there's another one. So, and this one right here, up here, so I told you you're going to be using copy and paste, but for this one right here, I use my effects menu as well. So effects and effects on this one to do that. So those are what you're going to be doing for your projects. I don't want to give away too much, but go ahead and try to do it. I hope they come out successful and you learn a lot as you do it. All right. All right, for this project, you're going to be doing some cool text effects. The text effects that you might know some of these, you might not know all of them. So what I want to do is I want to go over some of the little tricks to do them. So for the first one, the outline, you probably know how to do that one. It's using a stroke. So that means you're using this down here, your stroke, or if you want to go to your properties panel once you create something. So let's type in a word. Oops. Alright, so we have our word barren, and again, if we're adding stroke to it, we're just clicking on it, and here in your properties you have stroke, or you can go window down to stroke and turn that on. So this shows you your stroke options. So I'm going to add a stroke to it. Let's see, let's change the color so you can see it, and I added a stroke. So to get that stroke to the outside, we're just going to come down here, stroke align, stroke to outside, and now we have it on the outside as well. Oh, actually, sorry. We're going to go type, create outlines. There it is. Create outlines, and then we're going to put stroke on the outside. So that's how you're going to do that. And to do the one right under it, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do a stroke to the outside, but what we want to do for that one is we want to copy it. So I'm going to go edit, copy, and edit, paste in back, and I'm going to add a stroke to that. So let's add stroke to that, and so now we have the double stroke. So the 3 colors, 1, 2, 3 colors. So that's how you do the outline. Let's see, let's do the next one. Actually, I'll leave that out there. So how do you do a shadow? So again, we're going to type out our text. All right, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to effect, and I'm going to go to SVG or stylize. Where is it? Stylize and drop shadow, and tighten that drop shadow up. 0.06. 0.06, and take off the blur. 0.04. Right, so I tightened it up a little bit, and you can go make it even more sharp if you want, but this looks pretty good. And that's how you create your shadow. I mean, there's other ways to create a shadow, obviously, if you want to do another one. So let's see, let's type in Baron. And we can copy it and paste in back, offset it, and lower the color, change the color, and that creates a sharp shadow just like that by duplicating it and placing it directly behind it. Or if you wanted that shadow to be feathered, you go Effects, Style, and feather it, and you can change that feather. Let's go with 0.4 that we were doing before. So it's subtle, you can see it. Let me change the color to black so you can see it better. So that's how you do a shadow on your own. So you can do it on your own by pasting it behind it, feathering it, or just offsetting it, or you can do it like this where we would just use the effect. Let's see, reverse. I think you can figure out how to do reverse text. The question is, so you have two types of reverse. So we have reverse where it's just white on black, so white text on black text. And let's make that into something. Let's use a bold font like Arial. So we have alright, so I have my text right here in white. So it looks like that's all that it is, but we can also remember if we're using our Pathfinder, we haven't jumped into Pathfinder yet, but if we're using our Pathfinder, we can cut that text out of this other text. So I'm gonna go so let's change it to a type create outlines and select them both so we have both shapes, and if I cut it, I'm cutting it out of the actual text here. So that's two ways to do it. So obviously depending on how you want to do that. And then breadth, so let's do breadth. Let's go back with Baron again, Baron, and we're making this a thin. So what we're doing with this is we're adjusting our line spacing. So you've done this in Photoshop, so you're going to do the same here. We're just going to change our line spacing. So I just click on my number, and then I just hit up with my arrow. I'm just using my arrow to get it to a broader line spacing. All right, so space that out nicely. So this is your tracking. So I'm just changing my tracking of my letters. Right, and you gotta, like as in every test that you've taken so far on Adobe, you always want to make sure that you know your tracking and your kerning. So if you hover over it for a little bit, it should tell you tracking. I guess it won't. All right, but that's your tracking. So. And for width and balance, you're going to do the same. You're going to make one fat and one small. I think you can figure out that. For type on a path, so let's type on a path here. So I have my path here. I'm going to go to my text tool, and there's a tool that says type on path. So I'm not going to show you how to use that. I want you to kind of fool around with it and figure out how to do that. For the next one, we're learning how to break text. So I'm going to click right here, type in our word, take this back to 0, and probably want to go with Arial black again. Alright, so we have our text, and we're going to separate this into two pieces. Alright, so we have our text, Baron, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my line to cut this up. So I'm going to go, oops, let's try this again. Let's do the line down here, jagged line. Alright, so there's my jagged line. Hit escape afterwards. You can see it's just a line like that, and I'm going to put this across here and select all of them. I'm going to go to my Pathfinder. This one has all the options if you click on it right here, or you can go Windows and go down to Pathfinder, which is right there, and get the Pathfinder. Windows, let's see, Pathfinder. So you can use this one. Like I said, it has all the options down here at the bottom, or you could use the one that shows up in your properties panel. So it's the same one, it's just hidden. Oops, sorry. It's the same one, it's just hidden. So you have them down here, and what we're going to look for is divide. So I'm going to click on divide. So let me change this to outline. So create outlines, and I'm going to divide it. Alright, so I separated it, and now let's see if I have two parts. So let's ungroup this. So I have to ungroup it and group it back together. I'm holding shift as I do this to get all my parts together, and I'm going to group those parts. I'm going to select the bottom parts. Alright, so I'm going to group those parts. And now I'm just going to offset these. So there, I have my broken text. So that one is a little bit more involved, and I want you to, play around with that, see what you can do. Duotone, you should be able to figure that out. Again, you're using your Pathfinder. Gradient. We're going to do, with our gradient, we're going to do a, it's just regular text. So I'm going to, and I always drag out that box instead of, you could just click and write. Let's see, Baron, let's do gradient for this. We're going to use our, let's see, swatches. So we have our gradients. I have some gradients already in here. If you want more, you can click right here, and you can go to, let's see, gradients. There they are. Now there's lots of different gradients. I'm going to do gems and jewels. So first thing that we want to do is, remember, to use a gradient, we want to change this to a shape. So I'm going to go type, create outlines, and I'm going to choose my gradient color. And then if you want to put a stroke on it, again, or if you want them all to be the same. So if you look at this, so let's do that again. So all these are the same gradient over and over again, but if you want it to be one gradient throughout, let's do that. So I'm going to ungroup those. So each letter is individual. I'm going to group them together. So now I'm going to select them, and then I'm going to go to path, and I'm going to say, let's see, compound path, and I'm going to say make. So now I have a gradient that goes through all of my letters at once, as opposed to a gradient that's on each individual letter. So again, these are still, I made them into one path, which means that they should be considered as one shape as opposed to individual shapes. So, alright, looks pretty good. The last one, text that is curved. Let's try that one. So I'm going to go right here, have my text, and to curve that text, I'm just going to go up here to effects. I'm going to go to warp, and I'm going to look for arc. Well, you can figure out which one it is. So these are your warps, and figure out, play with them. These are just CoolText effects that you'll be using for your upcoming poster and brochure. Alright, so I hope that was helpful.